What's good? I don't know why this restream chat isn't working. Starting shortly here. Welcome, welcome. We've got a lot to go over. Welcome, welcome. What's up, Copper Dragon, Boy Tiger? Sorry, starting from the top. My mom's here. Say hi to my mom. Let me turn this down just a little bit. Here we go, Glitchhoff. What's up, Scientific Guy? Yo, what's good, everyone? Sass Entertainment. How y'all doing this lovely Monday? So what's the news? Well, FaZe member, guy named Rain, called out that one of the old FaZe members, a former CEO of the FaZe company, was doing bad stuff with children. Yeah. Oh, there we go. What's up, Boy Tiger? What is up? What is up? Okay. Well, that's a good enough intro here. Let's cut that. Switch over. What's good? What's good? How y'all doing? Yo, Quintio, appreciate your response to the comments on the last video. You took the criticism. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's not hard. It's just what was going on. So I mean, I appreciate you. I think you were one of the ones that had pretty big comment thread. You made a lot of really good points, which I agree with on that. But I'm more interested, honestly, to just like chat with if other people end up joining the Discord from that video. I just like to talk about it more. It was interesting. But there we go. How's everyone been doing today? We all eaten some food, had some water. I just had a Jersey Mike sub. It was fucking delicious. What should my stream nickname be? Pookie's mom. Copper Dragons goes hard. Was it Banks? It was not Banks. For me going over that, oh no, FaZe is bad. Whoever could have predicted. Yeah, exactly. Only good FaZe member is Jev. Take that back, bro. Adapt is amazing. FaZe Adapt, he's a real one. Never faked a trick shot. What was on the sub? Dude, I got the Big Kahuna chicken. It's like chicken, cheese, peppers, onion. It's so good. Like good FaZe members, Jeff. But when I get flashbanged, the only reason I know FaZe is because Hugbees did a video on how they did a collab with DC Comics and they did a collab with Darman. Interesting. I didn't know they did that. Hold on one sec here. Actually, I need to take a singular moment. I want to make sure that I have this set up. I've got like every single piece of it is linked up. There was so much more to this than I was ever anticipating. Like 3 fucking things came out today. This may turn into a long stream. I'm hoping this segment itself is just going to be a bit of a long one because there's so much shit to go over. But we've got this. There's some Borderlands 4 drama. There's some fucking, every time I bring these up, I'm always missing one. But there's like 3 things that are going on right now that are like huge. Oh, Aiden Ross with the fucking switching his bet over and it seemed weird as hell. So give me 2 more seconds here. Sorry about that. Just a lot of crazy shit all at once. Like over the last day here, everything was coming out. Oh, that's right. The Spiffing Brit got called out. That's the other one that I missed. Hold up here. Yeah, Spiffing Brit put out a video. There's been talks about how much there's been talks about that a lot of YouTube channels across the board have like had the lowest views that they've had over the course of like the last month or month and a half. And a lot of YouTubers were coming out giving reasons for it. There's a really well done analysis showcasing that yes, like across the board views have been down and it's peculiar. Spiffing Brit put out a video saying that's a load of bollocks since he's, the Spiffing Brit. And he also like made some points. It's like, well, there's drama stuff and like the drama leaves. It's like people just aren't interested in that because there's no like crazy drama. It's just people aren't watching your videos. And he was just kind of shitting on all the other people that were saying, well, there's other reasons for it. And he pointed out one specifically, and that person made a response. He was saying, respect Spiffing Brit. I have nothing but respect for the guy. He's saying, this isn't true. Just want to prove it wrong. What's up? Guess what? What? So there's a lot to go over, and I'm very excited to kind of touch on all of it. But the first big thing, which I took the time to research, I also watched through like 2 live streams to get more info, has to do with this FaZe stuff. So let's get into it. Now, this all starts here. I go here. New pixel art? Ooh, throw it in Discord. Let me take a look. Let me take a look at what you got. Let me go here. Also, yeah, if you guys want to join the Discord, haven't been. 18 up. We don't post weird shit. We just, want to swear without kids being around. Let me get this for you guys. Let's see. Throw it in the art chat. I'll take a look at it. There it is. You guys want to join? Oh, dang. Someone did a Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask Moon. That is terrifying. There we go. I'll take a look at it later. Oh, there we go. Very well done. Little bird feeder in a mountain. Very chill, very chill. Very low key. Here, I'll show you guys. Very, very epic. Very cool. So, let's get into the FaZe drama of today. So this all starts, is anyone here familiar with FaZe Rain? this gentleman right here. He actually has a photo of him like from a while ago. This is a guy that I watched when I played Call of Duty growing up. Like I loved watching FaZe Rain stuff. You just know Jev? Okay. So this guy's like, he is one of the OGs. It was him, I believe, FaZe Jev, FaZe Apex. Like a lot of these guys, FaZe Apex is actually right behind him. He's got a cardboard cutout behind him. But so this was literally yesterday that he did this. Let me check. Yeah, literally yesterday. It all starts with this. FaZe Rain reveals that he left FaZe over an alleged ped, saying it's someone he knew for a long time and that it messed him up for the past 2 years. He plans to reveal it all on stream today.
To do with me and FaZe to rest, bro, because there is so much I haven't said. And honestly, at this point, bro, I don't give a fuck. I think I'm going to collect my thoughts tomorrow and I'm going to say everything, bro. Every single thing that
hold on.
I haven't said.
I gotta reintroduce this. Okay, sorry. So, for those who don't know, this all kind of starts with a guy by the name of FaZe Rain. Now, FaZe Rain is this guy. He's a part of FaZe. He's like one of the OGs. I watched him growing up. And he started this. There was a tweet from Fearbuck here saying, FaZe Rain reveals that he left FaZe over an alleged ped, saying it's someone he knew for a long time and it has messed him up for the past 2 years. He plans to reveal it all on stream today.
FaZe to rest, bro, because there is so much I haven't said. And honestly, at this point, bro, I don't give a fuck. I think I'm going to collect my thoughts tomorrow and I'm going to say everything, bro. Every single thing that I know, everything. And I'm going to collect my thoughts because I have an eidetic memory, so I remember everything and anything. You know what I'm saying? And there's bad shit. I'm just going to do it on stream. I don't give a fuck. It's going to come straight from the heart. So if people have other questions, I'm going to answer it too. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't even know why I left FaZe. A lot of people don't even know why. It was for multiple reasons. It was by being fucked over by my homies. You know, that I threw. This is the craziest part, bro. I threw myself on.
And so he really goes on. He's like, I did all this for them. I did, like, you know, this, and this. I did this for them. And you know what? Like, I've been defending this guy, or like not saying anything for the sake of like, because he thought he was my boy, things like that. And he's like, well, this guy wouldn't care if my mom died, like stuff like that. He's like, it doesn't matter. I should be saying any of this stuff. It's been weighing on my mind. It's been messing me up for years. And he said it's going to happen. And he's also going to talk about some other things. He didn't end up talking about these other things, but he did end up revealing what this is. And the reason for that is because when he talked about this, everyone started like, whoa, who is it? Who is it? And so immediately, a lot of people were assuming that it was FaZe Banks. Because like everybody knows who FaZe Banks is. That's the first person that comes to mind. He said that this happened, you know, over the last couple of years. So it wasn't any of the new people like Lacey, Ronaldo. And so a lot of people were making assumptions that this was about FaZe Banks. Well, FaZe Banks ends up making a response to it. This was his immediate thing. Now we're going to jump to different parts of it because it's going to be, he does a 9-minute like thing and it's like uncut. It was his first take of it, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to show you the most important parts because there are parts where he just keeps talking in circles. But it's a pretty good intro to start and set the tone. He responded because he saw everyone essentially calling him a ped. Hey, Quinn, I watched you before Pirate Software. I watched you since you were also a Quinn. Oh, yeah. Thank you for watching.
First thing I'm going to say in this video is I'm not a...
Oh, sorry. I was watching these in a very fast speed. Okay.
First thing I'm going to say in this video is I'm not a pedophile. Rain is not talking about me. There, I got it out. Video over. Peace out. No. This is definitely not funny. This is definitely not going to be like a super lighthearted video. And yeah, I'm sitting in a hotel room right now in New York City. I left FaZe a month ago and quit the internet a month ago. And for whatever reason, I keep getting dragged back into this shit. It's like it's my fucking destiny or where I'm supposed to be, I guess. I don't know. It's fucking retarded.
You tell him, King.
Getting fucking spammed in my mentions over my FaZe and how I feel, whatever. And I'm going to get in all that, but no fucking shot. I'm going out sad like that. I'm not getting labeled any kind of predator, pedophile. Not me. Miss me with that shit. And I'm definitely going to talk about this and talk about the series of events that have unfolded to this point from my POV. Because it's just been a long process, obviously, guys. We've been doing this, and there's a lot.
Yep.
He's like, Banks, don't fucking play dumb. Slighted him. Process, obviously, guys. We've been doing this, and there's a lot.
I'm muted right now? I don't think so.
It's very, very complicated, but whatever. Rain's going off about how FaZe has slighted him, and he brings up that somebody's a pedophile and nobody gives a fuck and nobody wants to talk about it. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Call him. He's like, Banks, don't fucking play dumb. We talked about this before. I'm like, Norton, pause. You're saying that FaZe Temperrr is a pedophile, which that is who he's talking about in the clip.
So it is FaZe Temperrr. He's not lying. We're going to get more into that. FaZe Temperrr, one of the OGs as well. He was the CEO of FaZe for a short time from the bit of research I did on Temperrr. But this is who he's talking about now.
And there's a story and we're going to get into it. I'm like, whoa, that's Tommy. That's our brother. This is who we started this FaZe shit with. I'm calling him. That was the first thing I said. I'm calling him and I'm calling Apex because apparently this is something Apex is aware of as well. Norton and Tommy, or Norton and Apex are the closest on the team. So obviously, if Norton's going to talk to anybody about anything and be transparent, it's Apex. So I patched Tommy and Apex in the call immediately, and we sit on this phone call and we talk for a long time. We were on the phone probably for at least an hour, maybe even fucking 2 hours on the phone talking about this.
So keep in mind, just to like give you guys a bit of context, what he's talking about right now, you need to recognize that what he's talking about right now, that was a call that happened, I believe, a year ago. So the thing that transpired, this interaction where FaZe Rain found out because Temperrr ended up telling him that he did something that was quite ped. He tells him about it. He, like, I think he shares it with a few people, but then he ends up having this conversation. They end up hopping into a phone call, the four of these people, so FaZe, Apex, Rain, Banks, and Temperrr, and they have this conversation. He's now talking about it right now because of everything that came out. He's being accused of being a ped because FaZe Rain is hinting at this this information. Okay, it was a little confusing when I first started watching this stuff to try to like piece that together. It'll make a bit more sense as they end up hopping in a call, Banks and Rain, to talk about it a bit more. But I'd rather you guys know going into it prior to, you know, aside from or as opposed to after.
And Tommy's first initial knee-jerk reaction to all this shit was, what the fuck are you talking about? Norton, no, this is not what the conversation was like. You're misremembering, you're misinterpreting. Obviously, Rain is coming back, standing firm on the fact that, no, you did say this. I do believe that you did this, whatever. And there's a conversation that happened between Norton and FaZe Temperrr years ago. This conversation that I'm describing on the phone with Apex, Tommy, Rain, and Apex, Tommy, Rain, and myself, obviously. Sorry, I'm fried. I literally just woke up. I'm doing one video and I'm putting this shit out there, and Rain can talk about all the details of it. So this conversation I'm describing to you guys is a phone call from a year ago, but Tommy and FaZe Rain had a conversation between themselves years ago. I might be misremembering it, but I think it was 3-4 years ago they talked about this, and that's how long these guys have been sitting on that for. So this gets brought up years later. It's obviously a very heavy accusation. Yeah, what can you do in that situation? The way we left that phone call off was, let's get to the bottom of this, let's handle it. I mean, Rain's talking about making videos, Rain's talking about this, and nobody's telling him not to. I mean, obviously, Tommy's like, bro, this isn't true, you're gonna fucking ruin my life. Tommy, for the record, is married, lives in the Midwest, has a kid, and is pretty much more or less off this internet shit. So, you know, the implications, the ramifications rather, this has on his life, it's life-shattering, you know what I'm saying? It's fucked.
So yeah, he's like, well, yeah, these allegations, pretty bad, pretty serious. And so he's kind of laying out, okay, we had these conversations. He's essentially doing a ton of damage control for himself and just trying to, I don't know, get ahead of the story and whatnot. He said that he had reached out to Rain multiple times leading into this, and it seemed like he was like ducking him. So that's why he ended up having the, you know, posting this long ass video.
Degree or handle.
Now, this essentially is culminating in him saying, this also, and this really pissed off Rain, but he says the FaZe member Rain is referring to in that clip is Tommy. I know this because of a phone call we had between myself, Tommy, Apex, and Rain. To be clear, Tommy denied any wrongdoing and no conclusion was came to on that call. This all stems from a conversation that Norton and Tommy had between themselves one-on-one years prior. So this middle part here, where he's saying, to be clear, Tommy denied any wrongdoing and no conclusion was come to on that call. That's the part that pisses Rain off. But so he does this. He has a few other moments that are just a bit weird, and FaZe Rain feels really weird about it because now he starts talking about kind of like their interpersonal and that, you know, he's been there for Rain, and it comes off a bit funky.
And I feel for that, it going public, etc. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of my whole idea, my whole mission with buying this shit back and bringing it back. Well, not nobody got rich. All the genuinely I do, like he said, he made more money than all of us, which is facts. Rain was incredibly generous, is incredibly generous the entire time I've known him, paid for shit, put everybody on his platform, did not move weird. I see the disdain and the fucking, and how much he doesn't like current culture between other influencers and creators.
That's not...
Stand on that we had. I wish you a happy birthday. You're my fucking brother. And all the issues he's talking about, and I'm sure he's going to go into detail about visas, has paid for legal, paid for X,
okay,
Y,
yeah.
Z.
So he just starts bringing up like all the things that he's done for Rain with the company.
Shit getting paid for X, Y, and Z. I was always an advocate for him. For the record, he has had like FaZe has helped him get visas, has paid for legal shit. I made sure that he was sent money when he was in trouble financially, and had to get some shit paid for. I called. I can't say who I called, but I called and fucking barked the fuck up and made sure that shit was handled, and advocated for Rain, and always advocated for the boys. And I've offered personally out of my own personal money to help Rain, because I'm not just saying it, that kid is my fucking brother, and there's no world where somebody I call my brother is gonna fucking ever worry about where their mom's sleeping.
So this just has nothing to do with any of the allegations. Like, all he had to really say, and you're going to hear this from Rain as well, but like, hey, I'm not the person he's talking about. But so he goes in, he outlines this, and then that further up, he's like, well, he denies any of that wrongdoing, anything like that. But it's just like, he definitely seems panicked. And he's rubbing his arms the entire time. Like he's doing this like self-soothing stuff, and he's like, you know, hugging himself. Not to be an armchair psychologist, but he's just like clearly uncomfortable by it. And he's just kind of going off the rip, just woke up. And he's just like kind of going over everything. Well, FaZe Rain ends up, so I think this is actually just, is this just follow up here? So I believe he's talking about, this is FaZe Rain talking specifically about that conversation that FaZe Banks is referencing. This is them in that car years prior, and this is him saying that. Now, he's going to bring this up a few times. I might even get like, what is that called? Clip chimped, like right here, or what is that, like pause champed? But he talks about multiple times, FaZe Rain will, that he has this ID, something like a certain type of memory. I don't want to say photographic because he says something different. And he's like, I remember things like very, very vividly. Like I remember things very specifically, to like a very vivid detail. And I'm just saying that now because he's going to have a conversation with FaZe Banks. He has talked to a lot of people. Eidetic. Yes, eidetic memory. Thank you, Liz. And no one pushes back on this. So again, take this for, this is a lot of he said, she said. This is a lot of back and forth. But nobody pushes back when FaZe Rain is saying that he knows for a fact verbatim things being said or his memory about things transpiring. He never backs down from that, and I haven't seen anyone push back on that. So take that for what it is. Just from my observation, the fact that nobody pushes back on it, specifically Banks, especially when some of the conversations that they're about to have do not necessarily look very good for him, he doesn't push back on like FaZe Rain's story of, or like a timeline of events. So here is that clip of what he said their conversation was in that car.
I brought it up to him, bro. I did. And when we got in the call, Tommy...
Oh, excuse me. So, oh, I screwed up. This is their conversation. Right? Let me make sure I'm in the right chain of order here. I think...
Looks me in my eyes and says, bro, I'm not going to lie.
Okay, no, so this is that clip. Sorry. We'll just move them over. Here we go. Here we go.
This dude looks me in my eyes and says, bro, I'm not going to lie. I had a threesome with two 16-year-olds.
Hold on, let's make sure the audio's up. How's that sounding?
This dude looks me in my eyes and says, bro, I'm not going to lie. I had a threesome with two 16-year-olds. I'm like, bro, what? Like, how could you tell me that after I'm telling you the 3 rules I have to why I'll never have your back as a friend? On my mother's heartbeat. That's what he said. He looked me in the eyes and he said that. I told Banks and I told Apex immediately. I even told Lee Trink. I have text with fucking Lee Trink from then. It was right before everything fucking blew up with the SPAC and FaZe went public and whatnot. And he dropped me off home and we haven't talked since. That's why you guys are always like, bro, why don't you play CS with him? Why don't you play this with him? I don't want to say it, bro. I feel fucking bad. I feel bad. I know it's wrong. I know what he did is wrong, but I just hope people can understand like what it's like to have somebody you've known for half your life that you love, that you hope that your kids would have been friends and shit like that. Like, I don't know. It made me sad, bro. It broke my fucking heart. I didn't even want to bring this up, Banks. I did it. I didn't even want to bring your name up in this, bro, but you made that video. I don't know if we're about to watch.
Sorry, I was muted. So this is a really big deal. Keep in mind the way that he talks about this, that he said that in between the two of them, that they were having, he was saying that he had this thing with two 16-year-olds. That is really fucking important. It's going to play into what ends up happening further down the line. And he's freaked out about this. And then this is leading into him kind of also responding because he did not like how FaZe Banks talked about this and says that this guy denied it. No conclusion was met, things like that. And now he's going to start talking about that.
A little bit, but it's just, you lied in that video. You're making shit up, bro. Even that tweet that you posted under, I screenshot it in case you delete it because I just don't trust you, bro. And I don't trust what you said there. You said some bullshit at the end of that tweet. What'd you say? You said, here, I'll pull it up here. Like you said, call concluded and Tommy didn't admit to it. Yes, he did. And you called me and you said, bro, this is so fucking bad. This is so fucking bad. He said he's gonna kill himself if this shit ever comes out. And that's why I feel extra fucking bad, bro. That's why I feel extra fucking bad. You told me he would kill himself if it came out, and you guilted me into not doing it. You guilted me into not saying it because you're like, if he kills himself, that's gonna be on you. And you made me feel horrible for that. So I don't know what the fuck to do, bro. And I had an epiphany yesterday. I'm like, bro, why have I been holding this information for this guy for 2 years? But I know he doesn't give a fuck about me. He doesn't give a fuck about anything that happened. It's just I felt bad. Why do I always feel so bad for people, bro? And I don't ever want to make it about myself at all because it's not. It has nothing to do with that. But bro, what are you doing dropping a 10-minute video acting like I'm talking about you? Yeah, bro, people are tweeting at you. I don't know why they're tweeting at you. And then you're sending me fucking tweets, a kick champ saying it's Banks. Like, what the fuck do I have to do with that? You could have waited.
He's really upset that FaZe Banks waited now, or that FaZe Banks didn't wait and then was like saying all this stuff. On one hand, I understand that. On the other, I don't know, if you get called a ped and like everyone is rushing onto every social media platform that you are on and is saying that, I understand like responding really quick to that, especially when, as they were saying, they were messaging Rain. Rain was sleeping at the time, so he didn't like respond. So he just felt the need to respond. But he's alluding to this idea that in that conversation that they're talking about and that Banks references in that video, he didn't deny it. Matter of fact, he did admit to what happened. And so that kind of leads into this follow-up here. This is him talking about what was said during that phone call, what Temperrr said when they all grouped up into that 4-person call.
I brought it up to him, bro. I did. And when we got in the call, Tommy said this verbatim. He said, it wasn't a threesome with two 16-year-olds. Actually, it was a 17-year-old. So all of a sudden now it's 17. Okay. One was 17 and the other one watched. That's what he said. And then he started bringing up all these random laws. I don't even know these weird consent laws, like Romeo and Juliet, this, yada. I don't fucking know. I don't know what these laws are, bro. And he says some shit like that. And even Banks calls me after and he's like, bro, what the fuck is like up with that law shit that he brought up? So he knows he did some shit that was wrong. He knows that. He knows that. But it's just, I don't like the denying of it. And I feel like in this video, you're trying to paint me like I'm lying and making shit up and just saying shit to say shit when you know that's not the truth, bro. And it's not fair because, you know, people try to hold that 2020 shit over me where I was just suicidal and trying to off myself. You act like I fucking sit there recreationally getting fucking high. I don't even like weed, bro. I just smoke tobacco. I hit the gym and I stream. I play CS and I open fucking.
So yeah, so super against it. Now he's saying that in that phone call that FaZe Banks is referencing, he did admit to it, except he changed his story. He said that it was a 17-year-old and the other individual watched, which is crazy. And then he starts bringing up Romeo and Juliet laws. For those who don't know, that's like the age of consent varies depending on their age and like the relation to the person's age that they're like that is older that they're with, which is a crazy thing to bring up when you're defending yourself against pet allegations is to go, Romeo and Juliet laws, like I'm good. Like that's not exactly what people are looking for in that situation. Hello, Thomas from Denmark. And so it just felt really weird. And so he's saying, hey, FaZe Banks, you're full of shit. all of these things are wrong, and it feels really manipulative. It feels weird. And so this ends up culminating in FaZe Temperrr making a response. So he's talking about these things. FaZe Temperrr ends up responding the first time. He ends up making 2 videos. Full disclosure, to kind of like the big crux of why we're talking about this and why this isn't just he said, she said, FaZe Temperrr admits to this. He admits to having this happen with a 17-year-old. And so how old was he? I don't think anyone is like saying, I don't think anybody has like said his age at the time. We'd have to do a little math. It might be, actually he might say in this video here. But so this was his first response to everything coming out.
And to that my name is in the same breath as the word pedophile is so the fact that I'm even having to respond to this, and to that my name is in the same breath as the word pedophile is so sick, twisted, and insane. This is disgusting. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not that type of person. I am the furthest thing from what you called me, and I will never be that person. It's so mind-blowing that someone that I really built a brotherhood with, someone that I really considered a brother, that I invited to my baby shower, that I always looked after and took care. And then when you were going through your darkest days, I was there for you, and I was making sure that you were good. When you were in a wheelchair for 2 years, and like I was so gutted at the fact that like you couldn't walk again, and then all of a sudden you were able to walk again, and I was the happiest person in the room. There wasn't a single soul that was happier for you than me. Brother, I have known you since you were 14 years old, talking to me about when you were suicidal in these Skype chats, and I was there for you then. And I've been there for you this whole time. You talked about how I rated you the other day, even though when you first brought this up a year ago, and I believe that you brought.
So the thing that he's talking about right now, FaZe Rain apparently was going to come out with this info like weeks ago, but this guy ended up like out of nowhere, they hadn't talked in a while, raided his stream. And so he like ended up not doing it, just said thank you because he wasn't going to do it the night that he got raided. You also notice that the first half of this like response video is not saying that it didn't happen. It's just him going on over and over about brotherhood and how they've known each other, and he couldn't believe that this person's the person to say this stuff about him.
Brought it up just for money purposes, that you wanted money out of FaZe. Like you stated that a year ago in the conversation with me, Banks and Apex. You stated if you don't get paid that, you're going to air this out. That is blackmail. This is not like, you know who I am. You know the type of person I am. I am not what you called me. I'm fucking gutted, bro, and I'm pissed that you even put my name in that light, because now all I care about is my family, bro. Like my biggest concern is my family, my wife, and my kid. Now my kid has to grow up and see this, then see that his father is in the same, that my name is in the same light as what you just called me. It's fucking sick. When I bring my son to school, right, and the other parents, me with that word, you don't even understand the levels of damage that you just inflicted into my life, into my family's life, into everything that I built. I have put my heart and my soul into FaZe Clan in ways.
He's still not said if that was true or not. We are 3/4 the way through. He has not said anything about whether it's true or not.
That you and Banks and Apex know more than anybody. I brought you guys on because you guys deserved it, and I felt like you deserved it, and I broke bread with you. Times were like, and I wanted you, and even throughout all this stuff, like in a way, I wanted you back in, even though you said this. And that just goes to show you my heart. You know, I'm disgusted by your actions, by the person you've become. You haven't always been this way. You're a really nice kid. I don't know what happened, what got into you.
So yeah, he didn't say anything about what was going on. He just pretty much recycled, you know, we were bros. I don't know why you'd be saying any of this stuff. That you put my name in the same vein as a ped. Like, that's crazy. I've always been there for you. Not gonna say if it's true or not. So it's just like, okay, well, that's not really a response. And Rain ends up kind of crashing out over this response. And he makes, like, there's a few clips from it.
Even say, yeah, I did it. I fucked up. Zero accountability. I hate the person you've become. I'm in the best fucking shape I've been in my life. I'm mentally clearer than I've ever been in my life. I'm the most compassionate, most empathetic, most giving, most caring I've ever been in my fucking life. You say, I can't believe you're the person that you've become. Yeah, suck my dick. The fuck are you talking about, buddy?
This is disgusting.
This is bullshit.
Anybody that knows me knows I'm not that type of person. I am the furthest thing.
Actually, everybody that knows you knows that all you do is fuck hookers and are the horniest motherfucker of all fucking time. That's what we know. And you drink alcohol and you do all this bullshit. So of course you're gonna fucking do dumbass shit like that. Name one fucking Call of Duty event Tommy didn't show up with hookers. Please name one. Name fucking one. You want to do this bullshit? You want to fucking lie? Okay, I'm gonna show you that, bro. I didn't want to do this at all, but now you're actually making me see red. I was sad and I was hurt for you in the beginning, and now I'm not. Because this is bullshit. This is the fakest fucking shit ever. And I get how hard it is for you when you have a fucking daughter, or you have a son and a wife, and it's hard. But this is bullshit. And he didn't even say.
So yeah, not super stoked. Didn't really make sense. And yeah, I mean, rightfully so. He doesn't say fucking anything about it. Now, this is going on. I think the best thing to do now to like follow that up is to show his follow-up response. So he ends up making a second video talking about this, FaZe Temperrr. And this is where he just straight up admits it. And he actually, you know, addresses it.
This is the last time I'm going to speak of this. My private life is being aired out for public entertainment, and
for public entertainment.
I'm being forced into an impossible situation. So now, one day my children are going to see this video, and they're going to know about, you know, sexual experiences and the type of person that I was before I met their mother. And let's just start at the top. So a lot of what Norton was saying of the type of person that I was is true. Not all of it. I was a reckless kid. I was very misguided. I was in and out of relationships. And I didn't know any better, right? And so,
crazy way to say yes, I was getting hookers and stuff, but all right.
One day, I met Emma, and Emma was the love of my life. Like this, I fell in love with this girl, and I wanted to marry this girl, and I never had wanted to marry anybody before that. I never wanted to get married, and I was just blown away. So this is the girl that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. But because of all the baggage that I had and all the shit that I went through and just the person that I was, I pushed her away. You know, she did not.
Okay.
Being a fool. And then one day I go to New York and I go to this club that's 21 plus, and I link up with a buddy there, and he invites a couple girls, and I end up going back with these girls. We're all shit-faced, and I end up going back with these girls to my hotel room. I slept with one of them, and I found out after that this girl was 17. And that's the age of consent in New York. But regardless, I was sick.
He had to say it. He does the exact same thing. Age of consent is 17 in New York. So he starts this.
Consent in New York. But regardless, I was sick to my stomach. It was just extremely uncomfortable knowing that and thinking about the situation.
So remember that he's saying right now, in regard to this, that it was really uncomfortable and he felt sick to his stomach. That is not lining up with what FaZe Rain's retelling of this was. He's telling him that he had a threesome with two 16-year-olds. And later on, you're going to hear that I believe in that call that happened a year ago with the four of them, he says in response to FaZe Rain pressing him and saying, hey, you told me in the car that it was two 16-year-olds and that you had a threesome. He ends up responding back with, I said that it was a threesome to make it sound cooler, which doesn't sound like something that you would say if you were sick to your stomach about this event. And that's going to make more sense later. I'm going to have that like actually play. It's in the kind of conversation that FaZe Banks and Rain ended up having. But that is what the pushback is. And so a lot of this stuff isn't going to make as much sense. Or I should say it's not going to line up as well.
And that was it. And so shortly after that, or however long after that, Emma and I got back together, and you know, I was fully working on myself and becoming a better man, and doing what I have to do to heal myself and heal like all the trauma that I had, and just work on myself on being a better man.
Is now sounding like the most generic apology video you had to work on myself as a dark time. He hooked up with with this one 17-year-old in between like a break or like breakup thing that he was having with his now wife that he has a kid with.
You know, not too long after that, I proposed. And a few months later, we found out she's pregnant. And now I realize I have a child on the way. So I have to put my self-growth in overdrive, because got
to put his self-growth in overdrive after potentially, you know, sleeping with two 16-year-olds, but actually just a 17-year-old and the other one watched.
Life where on super fixated on just becoming a better man.
I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, it's just him talking about
I started earlier.
Being a better man.
I wish that I didn't put allegation of me being called a pedophile and then that was it. And so this allegation of me being called a pedophile is fucking insane. Anybody that knows me knows I am not a pedophile or even anything close to that, including Norden himself. So I just, this is something that is going to follow me around forever. And it's just sick, because people on the internet will take things and twist it into something that it isn't, and just keep running with it. And now I just have to deal with the repercussions, you know? And so.
Now, let's make this clear. Based off of the stuff that's come out, and actually, we'll save that to the end. We'll save that to the end. But that'll be an important point. But so they end up hopping into a phone call here. Let me jump over a Discord call between FaZe Banks and Rain here. This is one of the moments in it that I think was pretty good to highlight. But I also additionally went through the entire VOD of them having a conversation. We'll talk about, and like I'll show you a few clips from that as well.
Today, I talked to my.
But so FaZe Banks, like, look, I'm going to be very clear that I've got a bit of bias, and I feel a certain type of way about how FaZe Banks is conducting himself during this. And the main reason that I ended up seeking out the entire VOD is because FaZe Banks, they do this a lot. They're not expert communicators. Like, we're not expecting them to be. They're having a conversation. It's a pretty heavy topic, but FaZe Banks, like, he feels like a politician at times when he's having this conversation, because he'll duck the argument that's being made, or he'll talk in circles, or he'll avoid it, or he'll try to like do this kind of thing to like make them laugh or something to like ease tension, I guess. And it feels really weird. And it's just like, I've felt a bit off about it. So if I'm going to have a bit of bias just because like that's like my reaction to it so far. But I'll play it a bit, and I think you guys will understand upon seeing it, but maybe it is just me.
Hey, I talked to him. It's been a while since I talked to him. Me and Tommy haven't been on the best terms because of a lot of FaZe stuff and involvement and shit like that. Another huge part of the reason why I finally just like said, you know what, I'm going to go my own way. His story does not line up with what you're saying.
The only difference in this story, by the way, is again, brother, he told me 2 16-year-olds, threesome. And then on the call, he said, if I said it to sound cool. Do you remember him saying that? There's no way. There's no way. That's such a crazy thing to say.
Brain, I'm fried, brother. I honestly, like,
okay, so
it sounds like something.
It's not. Like,
it's
I remember
so dumb that it sounds like something I could hear Tommy in an unironic way, like saying, like.
So I'm positive that FaZe Banks meant to say in an ironic way. Because if he's saying that this sounds like something that Temperrr would say, that he did this, like he said that to make it look cool in an unironic way, that would mean that he was being authentic and genuine about it. So I'm just going to attribute that to not a Freudian slip, but just a slip up. He meant to say ironic. I just thought that was interesting.
I don't know. I don't understand how that's cool though. Like that's the part that doesn't like. I don't know.
I don't think it's cool either, bro. And I don't fucking agree with that. But what I'm saying, that's what he said. So insinuating, if he did say, I said it to sound cool, it's what he said. It's what he said. Whether he, for...
And so the point that FaZe Rain is making here, and again, I just think that FaZe Banks is kind of like, is like not understanding, is that by saying, well, I said that to sound cool, that is proof that he said that to Rain. That he said that he had this, this experience with two 16-year-olds, which is therefore him admitting to the fact that at least number one, he said that to Rain, that he did do that. And it seems to go over his head and he seems to be focusing on other things, but that's the crux of what Rain is trying to get across. And then on top of that, he ends up changing the story, saying one was 17 in this phone call that they had all had together.
God knows why he lied to me and said it was a threesome with a 16-year-old when it was a single with a 17 and one was watching. God knows why he lied and said it was a threesome. God knows why. Especially when I'm telling him how fucking demonic and evil that shit is and how I'll never have your back. That's what he said. It's what he fucking said. Okay? So then he goes in the call that we had after with me, you, Apex, Tommy, and he says it was a 17-year-old. He admitted it, bro. He did. And then he said, if this shit ever comes out, bro, I have a kid now, I have a wife, I'll kill myself. And you called me after, you're like, bro, he never talked like that. Please don't do it, bro. I don't want him to fucking kill himself.
I do remember that. But
so he admits on top of that during this phone call, Temperrr says that he is literally going to off himself if any of this comes to light. And FaZe Banks is like finally admitting or like saying, yes, that is true, that he ended up having a phone call with Norden or FaZe Rain saying he's never talked like that. Please don't air this shit out because like they're all brothers. He doesn't want this dude to go off himself, and he genuinely believed that he meant it. And so number one, that's fucked. Like if you have like some crazy shit in your closet and you think that you are any kind of person, to put the guilt of you offing yourself on them coming forward with shit that is that horrendous, that is not on the person that is going public with that. If they end up offing themselves, that has nothing to do with the people that are bringing it to light. Like that is such a manipulative tactic to try to push the guilt of someone literally offing themselves onto like what they all thought to be their friends or just like literally anybody. That's just blatant manipulation to get what you want and avoid having to deal with that being brought to light. And so like it worked because, you know, a year ago, this information didn't come out because FaZe Rain, like he felt like he would be guilty of this dude taking his life when he's got a wife and child, that he would be responsible for him taking his own life. That's insane. And so FaZe Banks admitting this, like, again, I'm not saying that these people have to be perfect. Like, you can't expect that in a situation where you think that these are your like closest friends in the world and stuff like this happens, like you don't know how you're going to interact. We know what the correct way to interact is on the outside of it. I think it's important to recognize that nuance as to why it's not like they were like, oh, doing this to children is okay. Like that's not what we're taking from this. It's that they chose not to. These people were all super close, parts of a company, all this stuff. I don't think that justifies staying quiet about this, especially when there are like children that are involved. But I think it's important to recognize the situation for what it's worth. That just means that you know the thing you're talking about is a seriously bad thing. Right. But so following that, let me see here. Let's go into more of this like conversation that they ended up having. So I've got the Twitch VOD, so I apologize. We're going to hit a few commercials during this.
With him, I found myself being like, all right, bro, you got it. Like, I don't care.
So they end up hopping to the call.
Fucking 30
here. Why can't I see this?
Want him on the team. That's just some Tommy shit. I called you, Apex, and Lee the minute he told me. As soon as he dropped me back off of my crib, I called you guys.
So keep in mind here too. So FaZe Rain is pretty much going back and forth because he's like, that was a crock of bullshit that you were spewing in your 9-minute video where you were saying all of this stuff and saying like in that follow-up tweet that he denied that any of this happened when like we just saw explicitly or like from what Rain is talking about that he did say that. He did admit to it in that call. And then Banks admitted to remembering that he did have that chat with him afterwards. Like, please don't air this stuff out. He said he's never talked like this, which means that he did know at that point. And you're going to see Banks like kind of flounder and I don't really want to poison the well. It to me comes off as him kind of like trying to find any way to separate himself from the situation. Like he is very clearly trying to distance himself over and over and over in their conversation. And that's where you're going to start to see like they just keep talking in circles.
I mean, bro, again, I can still give you the benefit of the doubt to be like, maybe. It's just so hard for me to believe because you did say that's just some Tommy shit. I called you, Apex, and Lee the minute he told me. As soon as he dropped me back off of my crib, I called you guys immediately.
This is what I'm saying. So me, Tommy, or me, Apex, and Lee, you called. Apex is saying the same thing. Apex
No. He knows. He knows. I talked to him today about it too. He knows. I called
him today. He said the first time that he ever heard about that was on the call with all of us, with me, you, Tommy, and Apex.
It's not true. It's not. I told everybody the second. I understand. But also,
either way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is in my. I'm just trying to give you from my POV, brother. I get this call. We all get on a call. This is a conversation you guys had in 2022, and this call that we had is in 2024. It was a year ago, right?
The first time I called you about it was at moments when it happened, or right when it happened. And then when you guys didn't necessarily care, and I'm not saying it's because you didn't care that it was wrong. You just didn't know what to do. No, but listen, when yes, I'm not saying you.
FaZe Rain is not super tactful. He's not like super good at getting these points across, or maybe he says it and then he like kind of walks it back. It's a bit of a strange thing. It's like I'm like parsing a conversation between two people that did not do it very well. I don't know how to explain that. It's just kind of like goofy. But he's talking about wait, hold on, I lost my train
but
of
I'm
thought.
saying you guys didn't.
Oh yeah, he's like you guys didn't like care about it. He's referencing the fact that this information came out. They had this conversation a year ago, back in 2024, and nothing happened. FaZe Temperrr was not removed. He was not taken like out of the house or anything. They just did nothing and continued on. And at that point, FaZe Rain ended up leaving. He ended up leaving FaZe and all that. And he says that that was in tandem with some other stuff that was going on. But he was like, that was a big reason because you guys weren't doing anything about it. And I did not want to be on an org or be with a group of people that were just like, okay with this guy being there.
Then when we talked about the 5149 thing, I said, and I voted against it. Yes. And I said no. But even when I considered joining back, I said, I'm not going to join the same team as a pedo. And then you said, I don't know what you want me to do. And then I just left. And it's been over ever since. And I get it. You've known Tommy forever. He took you in Boston. I get it.
Rain, when I said that to you, what was your response? What would you want me to do?
I said, I don't want him on the team. I said, I don't want to be on the team with a pedophile. That's literally my words. And then we never even had that group call till I texted it again 2 years later because I was still annoyed about it. I was still so annoyed that it led to that and nothing came.
You're going to notice this a lot. FaZe Banks is like, what do you want me to do? Like there isn't a very clear idea of what you should do to respond to that. Let's do a little poll here. Just write in the chat when you figure out your answer. It might take a little bit. If you get into a group call and you chat with these people and you end up finding out that one of them admits, like full on admits to, at the very least, at the bare minimum, well, let's start at the max, having a threesome, having that experience with two 16-year-olds, or at the bare minimum, had it with a 17-year-old while a 16-year-old watched, what would you guys do in that company? Let's say it's your best friend in the whole fucking world. What is that first idea that pops into your head as to what you should probably do about that situation? Report them to police and have nothing to do with them, I think. Yeah, crazy, right? Now, I would say, kind of like responding to that, like let's look at it across the board. It happened, they said that this happened years before that. So at that point, they're like, well, maybe, let's say like police, there's nothing they can do because it's been years. He doesn't know the people. They don't know how to get in connection with them. Even just reporting it might be a good idea regardless. But on top of that, they probably shouldn't be in the org anymore. You should probably cut them off because not okay. I don't think that's like a crazy idea to have in your head. And for FaZe Banks to now be putting this, like he's doing it right now in this call. He's like, and I told you then, what am I supposed to do? Like he's putting the decision making of that process of finding that out onto Rain. Keep in mind at this time, FaZe Banks is the CEO of FaZe. Out of anybody to have control over making a decision like that, it's Banks. He should not be trying to push this onto Rain because Rain is the one bothered by it. Like, that sounds crazy. And to try to like, and again, this kind of goes in line with him talking about, please don't air this stuff out. Cause he said that, you know, he's never talked this type of way. He said that he was going to off himself. It feels like in that same way, he's like pushing off responsibility for taking care of this or to make any sort of reasonable, you know, action in response to finding this out. He's just pushing that and pushing that blame or pushing that guilt onto FaZe Rain. And he doesn't seem to have he keeps bringing it up. He's going to do it a few more times.
Out of it. So I still felt some type of way for such a long time. So then I texted you again. I was like, bro, I just can't believe that shit doesn't matter to you guys. And then you said, wait, what? Tommy's a fucking pedo?
It's not that it doesn't matter.
No, but that's just how I felt. That's just how I felt, right?
I know, you're
so I
that,
said
and
that.
that's what led to the call. That's what led to the call between me, you, Apex, and
exactly.
Yes.
And then we talked about it.
So from my POV, again, this is where I'm at right now today in 2025, September 14th, waking up to all this shit. I wake up to all these mentions and I'm like, hold on. I obviously watch your clip from Fearbuck and I'm like, okay, like Rain's gonna do a stream about this. He's not speaking on this. And I'm brother, with like, for what it's worth and for everybody watching, I texted you how many times today before I made this.
So this is the part that I was talking about. He's essentially now just gonna like, they're going to have this back and forth, which like just goes on for a while. So I'm gonna skip ahead of like, well, I needed to say something. And FaZe Rain is saying, you shouldn't have. Like, you just straight up shouldn't have. You knew that it wasn't about you. You shouldn't have responded in any way. And FaZe Banks is responding saying, yeah, but everyone and their mother was on every platform calling me a ped. Like, how do you expect me to just sit on my hands and wait? And honestly, like, I understand that. But to respond in the way that he did with what seems to be, based on him kind of agreeing with FaZe Rain over the time, is that he got a lot of the details wrong and like really padded down the severity of what was kind of like, you know, admitted to, the fact that he did do this. And he really, really tries to like, you know, pad the severity of that situation. And that's what Rain is really upset about. It's like, if you really wanted to, just say that you're not a pedo. But again, it's an emotional thing. It's a very serious, heavy, you know, allegation to be levied and for people to assume that about you. So I can get reacting the way that he did.
Brother, I woke up after your text. I was
going to make a video. I told you that.
Take a drink every time they say brother. I don't want anyone in my chat dying tonight. Maybe every other.
Sleeping, when I saw that, I woke up to you already.
Brother, it's easy for you to say, I challenge you to just sit there and be quiet when, I don't know. My response, I don't think I said anything like fake or misrepresented the story. I was going to let you get into all the details, honestly. I know I yapped for 9 minutes in it, but that's kind of the whole thing. Like, what the fuck do I do in this situation? What should I have done in this situation, Rain? Just let people call me that?
I mean, bro, it's the internet. They're going to call you whatever they want to call you.
But you weren't gonna say.
No, I was. After it got that public, I fucking got put in a situation where now I have to. Like, if it came out and
he also FaZe Rain also says that like after that stream had Fearbuck, so Fearbuck is the Twitter person that we're going over, he said that after he like finished that stream, went to bed, he's like, actually I'm not going to talk about it, like I'm done with it, blah blah blah, and I'm not going to like reveal that stuff. But these other like Twitter channels, or these other like Twitter people ended up posting those clips about him talking about everything, in which case then all of the suspicion and people making guesses and assuming Banks, all of that started to percolate, and then it turned into this. I guess that's important to know.
Saying, bro, you can't do it. He's going to kill himself. Why would he have, if it wasn't true, why would he even think about killing himself?
Stop it. Hold on, stop it. To be fair, he came into that call and said what you were accusing him of and saying was not true, because it started out as 16-year-old girls in a threesome, two 16-year-old girls in a threesome, and then he came in and said, I met this girl at a nightclub somewhere in New York, and it turned out that after the fact that she was 17 and her friend was like there, but we didn't hook up, whatever. And he was like, there wasn't, you guys' stories weren't corroborated. That's true or untrue, by the way.
Brother.
So maybe he's going to say it right now, but like, I want to break down what FaZe Banks is saying right now. He's making the argument that, so we heard this from FaZe Rain, right? That Temperrr told him that it was two 16-year-olds, blah, blah, blah. But then when they got into the call, when they had that conversation, he was saying that it was this 17-year-old he met at a nightclub in New York. Okay. So we have two differing stories where in one situation, yeah, just like crazy, and then the other one, they did that, and a 16-year-old watched. I don't know how that turns into, which you'll see in a sec, how that turns into, well, I didn't know, you know, if it was true or not, or I didn't know like what to do because your guys' stories weren't adding up. Regardless of that, Temperrr himself is saying and admitting to something that is, I would say, not much better. Like we're not really like, oh, okay, well, you know, these are so different that it's not lining up. I don't know. That sounds pretty fucking crazy. And I struggle to believe that hearing that's how they aren't lining up, that for you is like a green light to go, well, we don't know for sure. And just kind of chalking it up to that. That doesn't line up for me.
But no,
I'm telling you exactly. Okay, brother, this is exactly what happened. We're in his car. I'm confiding about a friend that I suspected of doing that shit. And I told him, I will have your back as a friend no matter what in life. But if you're a pedo, you're a rapist, you hurt animals, I don't have your back. I'm exposing, I'm snitching, all the above. That's what I told him.
Agreed.
He looks me in my eyes, on my mother's fucking heartbeat, on my dog's heartbeat, on everything. He looks me in my eyes and says, I'm not going to lie, bro. I had a threesome with 2 16-year-olds verbatim. And I said, please tell me you were 17 at fucking latest. He said, nah, bro, it was last year. So that would have been 2022, 2021.
But what you just said, that's what you just said. I'm not.
Let's do the math on that, chat. So he said it happened, was that?
In the car.
You were 17 at fucking latest. He said, nah, bro, it was last year. So that would have been 2022.
2022. Okay. So let's find out. FaZe Temperrr age. He is 32 years old. 1993 minus 1993. He was 29 years old. Wait, what? Doesn't make sense. Was it that? Hold on. FaZe Temperrr, 1993, 2022. So he's 32 years old. Okay, so just 3 years ago. Yeah, he was 29. So 29 or 28 years old. Okay, let's just continue. So apparently 28 or 29. Sorry, that fucking floored me. I was like, wait. No, that was actually pretty recent. That was 3 years ago.
2021.
But what you just said, that's what you just said. I'm not in the car. We agree on that. I don't know exactly how this conversation goes.
But I brought it up on the call.
Hold on, please, just let me get this point off. Because you're saying I'm like twisting things, misrepresenting things. I knew about something. No, I didn't. Still, you're saying something different than he's saying. And that's
you know what he
saying
said, though? The nightclubs, I don't even know where you just got that from. What he said, by the way, on the call.
He said him and Bezo went out New York.
Also, okay, so it's crazy you say that. Bezo. That's so weird you fucking say that.
And again, notice there is no, like I said earlier, he talks about like having an eidetic or whatever that type of memory is. Banks never pushes back on Rain's like telling of events, just the fact that he isn't aware of FaZe Rain's telling of events or that they don't match up with Temperrr's. He never says that's not true. Like he always submits to what Rain is saying, which, you know, maybe in this situation he's going to, but I just find that interesting. Like nobody pushes back on that, which is just, it's weird to me.
That one time I saw Bezo tweet and I couldn't believe he knew. I couldn't believe it. He tweeted saying somebody at the head of FaZe is a pedophile. I saw him tweet it and I DM'd him about it, but he was too scared to tell me who it was. So the fact, and I told him, is it an owner? And he said no. So the fact that you just said Bezo is in fucking sync, because I DM'd him about that 2 years ago. So that's actually insane. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that part of the story.
Perspective in his side, it was a different story, lacking context from what you said. The threesome part, the 16-year-old part.
But then he proceeded to say, if I said I had a threesome with 2 16-year-olds, I said it to be cool, verbatim. It was a 17-year-old and the other one watched.
I don't know how that's
and then
cool.
he started bringing, that's what I'm fucking saying. I'm telling you that's the most cancelable, horrible thing, and I would never have your back as a friend, and you tell me that to act like it's cool?
This is obviously
I get it. It's so insane that it's laughable. I get it. I understand.
It's just this. The fact that we're here live on Twitch, FaZe Rain, FaZe Banks talking about this is fucking ridiculous.
This is the shit that irks me. It's crazy that it's us, right? FaZe Banks and FaZe Rain talking about this. Ain't this crazy, dude? Like it's strange.
I agree.
It's all crazy.
But again, it never had to involve you any way, shape, or form.
I know as much as you knew, as much as Apex knew, as much as Tommy knew, and us four were in this call, and we didn't come to any conclusion, Rain. You guys disagreed on the details of the story, and he's saying that what you're saying isn't true. You're saying that what he's saying isn't true. How the fuck do I know? How does Apex know? We're not in the backseat of the car. It's you guys.
But
and
he
again,
admitted it, bro. He
again,
did.
Rain, this conversation between you and Tommy happened 3 years before.
Not 3 years, 2
So
years
what the
before,
fuck
and then
do
the
I
call
do?
happened a year before. And what I'm saying is he did admit it. And then he said, bro, if this shit comes out, I'm going to kill myself. That is what he said. He didn't say if this accusation, because if he didn't do it, he'd stand on that 10 toes. You could make up whatever rumor you want about me. I'm not going to kill myself over a fake rumor.
That's heavy. He did say that. So again, and me and you talked about this privately again.
You called me after, yes.
I didn't say don't do anything. I just, obviously this is fucking heavy.
You
this
said
kid
this,
literally
and I remember verbatim what you said too. You said, out of all the years I've known Tommy, he's never said anything like this. He's never said he'd kill himself.
True.
Yes.
Facts or no?
Yes, yeah, no, I
He's
agree.
never said anything
Exactly.
That was a very scary
Exactly. So
thing
you
to
told
hear.
me you can't.
So you notice he keeps pushing it off, and like we saw that clip earlier that he did admit, no, I did say that to you, that you should not come forward with this stuff because he's never talked like this. The thing he's referencing right now.
Do it, bro. He'll kill himself. That's fucking crazy. And it's
I
okay,
said verbatim, you
bro.
can't. I said verbatim,
Yes,
you
you
can't
did.
do it.
You did, but it's
I mean,
okay.
I don't know.
No,
I don't
and
know
it's
exactly
fine, brother. It's fine. You care about your.
He doesn't push back on it. He's like, okay, I said that verbatim. Damn. Okay.
Your friend. I'm not saying that. You just don't know what to do, right?
No,
So
I still don't think this needed to all be public. Again, I left FaZe a month ago. This is these new guys thing now, and it has nothing to do with me. It doesn't align with what I'm doing with my own life. I want a family of my own. I'm trying to. Me and you talk a fair amount. You know what the kind.
This has nothing to do with what they're talking about. This has nothing to do with it. Like him leaving FaZe, how does that have any bearing on anything about this conversation that they had? The fact that he was aware of it, the fact that he followed it up and said, FaZe, dude, or like Rain, don't let this like become public because the dude's gonna off himself. None of that has anything to do with this.
The tip I'm on, sober, trying to be healthy,
Yep.
and
now he's going into the same like, well, I'm on a better path type shit.
pair that with
Yeah.
alcohol, he's gonna make a fucking mistake, and that's why I always said.
I've never seen him be weird. He's never had any weird pedophile tendencies.
I mean, we all know he was the horniest dude we've ever fucking met in our life. And then you pair that with
yeah.
alcohol, he's gonna make a fucking mistake. And that's why I always said I just think he's so retarded.
But that's not
for doing
necessarily true because I've lived my life a certain way, and I've never done that. Would never do that, and it's like, and I especially wouldn't. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the details again. There's a side that you have, and there's a side that Tommy has, and it's so heavy to be in between that. Like
There is the truth, and then there's deflection because you don't want to admit what you've done. But he did admit it. He just said she was 17. He just took a 1 year up when he told me 16. He just went 1 year up to try to soften the blow. She had to have been 16, bro. It's like, why would you tell me 16 and then say, so what? He lied about it being a threesome to sound cool, but then also made her sound younger to sound cool. But then all of a sudden, a year later, now she's 17. Brother, I repeated that story to my mother, to my stepdad, to my sister, to my best friend, to everybody that I know because I was so fucking distraught and mind blown by it. I am certain I would bet every dollar I'll ever make for the rest of my life that he said 16. I would bet everything. Again, it has nothing to do with you, by the way. I will do a lie detector test. I will do any means to prove that that is exactly what he said. But there's no way I can because we're both in a car together, right? So I would just hope that he admits that he fucked up. Hopefully, he's an absolute changed man. He's loyal to his fucking wife. He has a son, and he's going to take care of his son. Like, I would just appreciate accountability and honesty, and that's it. But we're human, we make mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
The only two people that could possibly know what you guys said in that car to each other are you and Tommy.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Literally what he just said. like there's nothing new there.
It's like, again.
No, but he did admit it in the call with us four. He did. He did say, yeah, she was 17, the other one was watching.
Yeah. He talked about New York, 17, law.
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah, you
you
called me after and you said.
I just remember you guys arguing back and forth, and I just remember it being fucking crazy. Like,
because that is a crazy thing to do. It's crazy. And then you even called me after you said, bro, when you bring up the laws and these random Romeo and Juliet laws, and it's just weird. And you know it's weird. Like when you bring up these weird consent laws. Yeah,
I stand on that. I stand on it. I think that if your response and your argument is, well, technically, it's like,
yeah, exactly, and that's what we talked about after.
If you're dancing that close to the line, you probably shouldn't be fucking. You probably should.
This is where I'm like, he's just looking for common ground to agree with Rain because they've been disagreeing and he's been getting pushback and stuff. And then he just like cuts. He's like, yeah, and I still stand by that. You know, if you're defending yourself with like Romeo and Juliet laws, things like that, like, dude, like if you're getting into the technicality, it's like, this is just have the discussion. Like he keeps like trying to find ways to like get out of the confrontation and just like kind of like try to find a way to get them to agree on something.
Shouldn't be anywhere near that shit. That's my, that's my personal stance, how I feel about shit. By the way, we're on the same page with this and in agreement with this type of thing.
No, of course, with that we are, but I just don't like the way you went off about it, bro. I don't.
Jordan, you know me too, and you.
New to the drama, what were the ages? 2 16-year-olds, or maybe a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old watched. That 17-year-old with FaZe Temperrr being 28 at the minimum, 29 years old at the most.
You obviously know how I am with shit. Bro, getting these tweets, I'm like, what the fuck do I do? I'm gonna respond because honestly, Norton, no matter what you would have said,
and he then again brings it back to how am I not going to respond to this?
James, like this was not. I didn't want to assume.
Again, I just wish you just.
I think this is the majority of what we needed to get out of their. That was pretty much everything that I wanted to get out of their like live stream conversation. Again, they just kind of keep talking in circles about it, and it just it's not good. So yeah, it ends up kind of closing out with that. Let me jump back. So like I said, you ended up seeing that video where he kind of responded. I haven't seen this clip. FaZe Rain ends up responding. I think this is last night. And then this one was today, but this is last night here. Let's see here. He ends up going, I feel horrible, man. I wish it never happened. I'm sorry I didn't speak out sooner, but I hope you can understand that it's hard. I love this guy. I was a huge fan of him growing up. I didn't know what to do. Part of the reason I left FaZe was because of it. I couldn't be side by side who did something like that. I wanted to speak, but just felt so fucking bad, and eventually I just couldn't take it anymore. Love you whether you understand me or not. So he feels terrible for like all of this happening. Like, you know, someone that you've known for a really long time and end up having like this having to air this kind of shit. Like I can understand still feeling terrible about it. Like if your best friend was doing this shit, like that would crush anybody, regardless of it being like horrific. And so for blah, blah, blah. So let me see this. I haven't seen this. Let me pull up. So hold on. So he makes this response. This is today. This is at midnight today where he admits to it. I want to see if on Rain's VODs, we might be able to see this reaction. Sorry, that was really loud. Oh, here we go. Well, hold on. We got to fucking deal with ads. Velveeta cheese, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, no... It's not the age gap that's the problem. It's the fact that it's a minor and a grown man that should know better than to have these types of relations. Well, so his argument was saying that he found out after the fact. But the weird thing about that is following suit after that, he's talking about in this car with Rain, or Rain is alleging that in the car, he was admitting to it and saying that he had a threesome with 2 16-year-olds. And then he follows up saying 17, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I said it was a threesome with them to sound cool. Don't know how that makes you sound cool, but here we go. So this is Rain reacting to that apology. I honestly haven't seen this, so I want to see his reaction.
There's no fucking way. Rain does.
And one day, I put.
No, you know, if that was the case, I know that. I didn't even know that.
And I go to this.
He's right.
And I was just blown away. So this is the girl that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, but because of all the baggage that I had and all the shit that I went through and going to parties, partying and just being a fool. And then one day I go to New York and
wait, so it was after Emma. Holy shit, I didn't even know that.
With one of them, and I found out after that this girl was 17.
Then why wouldn't you tell me that, bro? You never told me you didn't know. You know, if that was the case, I would have your back to that, bro. You know that. You know that if you said like, bro, I did that, but I didn't know. They told me they were 21. They told me they were 22. I had no idea. I wouldn't look at you the same way. I wouldn't. I'd be like, damn.
So here's a situation that Rain has outlined. He had this conversation with him, and that was led into by him saying that he thinks that one of his friends had done this. He's talking to Temperrr in the car, and he's like, I will have your back through everything, except if you like do this with a minor, if you like hit an animal or like this third thing. And in following that, he responds with saying that he had this experience with two 16-year-olds. If he heard that I will have your back through everything unless you do one of these things, then he explains how he did one of those things. Why would he not say that? Why would he not say I didn't know? That is that doesn't make sense. That's where I kind of feel a bit weird about Rain's like quote unquote eidetic memory. Like if that was the situation, I struggle to believe that in that position, if that was the case, that you did not know that they were, that you wouldn't say that. Or on top of that, that he didn't make this point in his first like response. Like Temperrr never brought this up. Like I can, in my head, it's one of these two things. It's either Rain doesn't actually remember everything, or it's Temperrr Temperrr is kind of just saying this after the fact. And maybe that's not necessarily the truth, that he didn't know. That's the weird thing. There have been so many opportunities like in the progression of this, including the phone call that they had a year ago where Temperrr could have said he didn't know the age, and none of this would be where it's at. So it's really weird. I honestly, talking it out and saying it out loud, it seems more like he's just kind of saying this after the fact. And I don't know if Rain is just giving him like benefit of the doubt now, but it makes no sense that he'd bring it up after that. Yeah.
Damn, bro, that fucking sucks. I can't fucking believe they lied to you. I can't fucking believe that happened. But bro, like, you know what I mean? I aired it up for no reason. Okay, buddy. Yeah, okay, buddy.
And that's the age of consent in New York. But regardless, I was sick to my stomach. It was just extremely uncomfortable knowing that.
But I'm saying, like, it just feels like he's actually listening to what I'm saying on stream, and he's just trying to put pieces in to like soften the blow. Again, I genuinely want to be in his corner on if he's actually innocent with it, but I just know he's not, because I know the conversation we had. I know. Like, you didn't say I didn't know their age. You didn't say, dude, I'm fucking sick to my stomach over it. I'm fucked up over it. You said, like, not gonna lie, and then you said it like that.
And thinking about the situation, and that was it. And so shortly after that, or however long after that, Emma and I got back together.
I mean, that's the only explanation to why I told him what's. Well, yes, I'm that guy that said he said
work on myself on being a better man, and you know, not.
Yeah, that's actually fair too. Well, yes, I'm that guy that said he said not to defend him, but he probably told you because he did feel guilty at that time. Yeah, I mean, that's the only explanation to why I told him what's so unforgivable. He immediately thought of it, and then he told me, yeah, I did that shit. But you're probably right.
Not too long after that, I proposed. And a few months later, we found out she's pregnant. And now I realize I have a child on the way. He picks up my number one focus, and it's anybody that knows me knows I am not a pedophile or even anything close to that, including Norden himself. So I mean,
I also have said that I don't think he goes around preying on kids. I don't think he goes around looking.
So here's my thing. Like, based off of that, I feel like he's manipulating the story. Like, disagree with me. Like, I'm happy to have that conversation, but it feels really, really weird that he wouldn't, like, that seems like if this situation happened to anybody, the first thing out your mouth following you announcing or admitting to this thing is that you didn't know. I genuinely am struggling to fathom any other like scenario that would allot for you not to say that, not to bring that fact up, especially in that situation. And now he's bringing in like, I'm gonna have to deal with my kid like seeing this. I'm gonna have to deal with like blah blah blah. And it feels like it is emotionally impacting Rain. I think that's ends up being why he kind of follows up and responds and saying he feels bad, things like that. because he's feeling a lot of guilt, and FaZe Banks and Temperrr are both like putting this on him for coming out and saying this stuff. Now, let me see. Is there any other pieces to this that I haven't shown yet? He does make one more video here. I think it's what we need from that. But last thing here, he has another thing. FaZe Rain puts this out. He put it out at 3 a.m. this morning here, and this is that clip.
I'm going to say about the Tommy situation because he made a video confirming it, but the details did get switched a little bit because originally it was two 16-year-olds and it was a 17-year-old and one was watching, and now a 17-year-old and he didn't know her age. I'm going
to start this over just a little bit here.
Say about the Tommy situation because he made a video confirming it, but the details did get switched a little bit because originally it was two 16-year-olds and it was a 17-year-old and one was watching, and now a 17-year-old and he didn't know her age. If you didn't know her age and you said that to us at least once, we wouldn't be here, bro. I would not have treated it the same way if you said you didn't know, because that changes everything. But you never said that, not once. Literally not fucking once. This is news to me that you didn't know, okay? And I'm not trying to make it about myself in any way, shape, or form. By the fucking way. I don't want anything out of this. I fucking love my life. It has bothered me for so long because that shit fucked me up. I left the team over because I said I'm not going to be in the same team with someone who did shit like that. Because I have 3 rules. If I'm your friend, bro, I got your back no matter fucking what, bro. Except if you do 3 things. And it's very simple. No grape. No pedo shit. No animal abuse. And I got your back for fucking life, bro. I got your fucking back for life. Just don't do none of that weird shit. And I got you, bro. I'll always be there for you no matter what, thick and thin, bro. But he didn't. And as soon as I tell him that, he proceeds to tell me one of the forbidden rules that he broke. The fuck? Why would you even tell me that? So again, it fucked me up for a while. So I tried to get him to step down. I said I would not be on the same team as somebody who does shit like that. And then shit did not sit right with me. So then a little bit less than a year later, I brought it up again. And then I get put in an ultimatum that he's going to off himself if I say anything. So I'm like, what the fuck? And then another year goes by, and I'm still feeling like shit every single day about it. So I'm like, bro, I can't fucking take this shit no more. It's not fair to me. It's not fair for me to feel this way. It's definitely not fucking fair to the victims. So again, I'm not trying to make it about me, even though I know me saying it's not fair to me makes it sound like it's about me. But I don't mean it like that. I just mean like I don't like living with that information. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you want to be malicious about it, you want to assume I have bad intent, ill intent, go fucking ahead. I could give a fuck less. This is the internet. Half of you guys fucking have 15 IQ. I could give a fuck less. Like, caffeine and nicotine. I don't like anything else. I have nothing on me, bro. In the last, well, I've missed 1 day in the last like 800 days at the gym. I work out every single day. Bro, I love who the fuck I am. I love to push that fucking weak ass agenda. My sister's more proud of me now than.
Yeah, I think it got the crux of it. And I honestly, I didn't watch that one directly, or like I didn't see the part where he was also pointing out that they had never said it once. But I still think it's kind of a huge thing that that you never say that. So that really kind of puts it up in the air for me. But I wanted to close out talking about that and closing out this segment with I agree with Rain when we're talking about, is this guy like a straight up, is he a pedo? I think a lot of people will just call him that flat out, because like that is the situation that happened, like potentially 2 16-year-olds. He talked about it, whatnot. I honestly can see that side based off of how they're describing it. Again, this is off of what Rain is saying, which, you know, Temperrr is denying, which is that it came off like he was fucking bragging. And then he follows that up to say, oh, I was saying it was to, like, I had a threesome with them to make it sound cool. That doesn't sound like something you would say if you weren't into kids. Like that, I don't know where you kind of like, you think it's cool to have it with 2 children. And so on the other hand, with what Rain has said, and they've said it like time and time again, he doesn't think that he's a risk, like that he's doing it again. He's got a wife, he's got a kid. He hasn't, like, from his knowledge, done anything of the sort. This isn't like a repeated behavior. And usually, hallmark of like actually being a ped is that you want to do it and that you do it consistent, like you keep doing it. And so I'm honestly like, I see both sides of that. Either like based off of how he talked about it, even in that one single experience, seems like some ped shit. Seems like that is something that a ped would say. And the fact that you never clarified and never went out of your way to say, I didn't know until, you know, shit hit the fan, is really fucking peculiar. But at the same time, this is the only instance that we're aware of, that at the very least Rain is aware of, and that he's, you know, aired out to the public. So yeah, that's a crazy fucking, neither direction looks good. Why did it take so long for him to say he didn't know how old she was? Well, apparently, yeah, ended up getting brought up in that call that they had a year later, and then he said that. Crazy that he didn't say it to Rain. I feel like that would be the first person that you'd want to make that clarification with. And at the very least, he's denying that he said that, which, I mean, take that for what it's worth. Well, no, excuse me. He doesn't deny that. He clarified that if he said that, it was to sound cool, which means that he's not fully saying that that is not the case. He's saying if it did happen, it was to sound cool, which I can't wrap my head around that. Not only did he brag about it, he literally doubled down and claimed he got the 2-for-1. Yeah, or at the very least, he had one of them watching, the younger one. So, yeah, Temperrr has a much better reason to lie than Rain does about not knowing the age of when the thing happened. Yeah. FaZe Banks is done. It's over. I don't think, like, FaZe Banks, FaZe Banks feels so fucking weird. I think this is just off the dome. I don't even know if I'll include this in the video. But it feels like FaZe Banks is trying so fucking hard to distance himself from this, because it seems like he did know, he was aware of it for at least a year, was aware of it and did nothing about it. And you saw even in the VOD that we were going over of Rain's conversation with Banks, multiple times, or like at least in the one example that I showed you guys, he's like, what was I supposed to do? As if the CEO of the company is supposed to be putting that decision onto literally anybody else, especially after you've heard this, especially knowing that that's your friend. I understand that it can be difficult. I understand that can be tough. But like, to push that onto Rain to make that decision, or to tell him, please don't let this stuff come out because he was talking like he actually would off himself, it's manipulative. And you know, maybe Banks just actually genuinely believed it, but you got to recognize that that's, like, even after the fact, you got to recognize that's not how you operate with that. And so it just feels like, well, no, I don't want to take fault in any of this. I'm going to distance myself. You guys had that conversation in the car. It didn't match up. So, you know, who knows? You know, we didn't come to an understanding. You did. So, like, this, I would say, has a lot less to do about Banks, although he definitely really seems weird in this situation. It has a hell of a lot more to do with Temperrr, and the fact that even after all this comes to light, his story has changed. And on top of that, it just, logically speaking, if any of you were in that position, could you justify not telling the people around you, specifically the one person that has been vocal about it, not once, but twice, forced a call, you know, between you, him, and then Banks pulled the other two in, and not once told any of these people that you didn't know their age? I don't know a world where you wouldn't do that, if that was the case. So yeah, I'm gonna, in the video that I'm gonna put out about this, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the full VOD so you guys can watch it yourselves. It's very interesting, albeit they loop around a lot, and it's just, because I'm not a psychologist, I'm not going to make like crazy assertions about that, but just the way Banks behaves in it just feels yucky, and it feels very much like a politician trying to not, you know, be so, I don't know, close to the situation. Oh, but that's what we got. That one was really, really interesting. I think I might stream tomorrow, talk about the spiffing Brett thing, put a video out on that. I'm going to have this video out tonight or tomorrow morning, early in the morning. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're interested, want to have a conversation, talk about any of the other stuff, let me go ahead and give you some other good stuff or give you a link over to the Discord. Feel free to join, play video games. I'm going to be doing a Borderlands 1 talking about it as well. We're talking about some Borderlands 4 drama. Some other stuff that's hitting. I don't think the Aiden Ross one was as big, but I just wanted to get back into doing more content. I was kind of slumped for a couple weeks. I'm just trying to get back into, you know, greasing the wheel and getting stuff out. What happened to my boy, the spiffing Brit? It's not crazy. He's not like in a crazy allegation thing. Just some arguments about YouTube, the algorithm, how it's been impacting creators. He thinks it's a load of hooey, and the people that did data and research are pushing back and saying, they're not exactly a righteous bunch. Doubt this will be the only situation like this with FaZe. Someone else will probably come out with some more stupid shit they've done. Probably, maybe, I don't know. I'm glad you guys tuned in. Thank you so much. Be sure to, I don't know, catch the one that's going to go on tomorrow. If you guys have any questions for me and want to chat, I'm going to hop into the Discord tonight, play some games, shoot the shit. But yeah, thank you for sticking around. It's really cool to see you guys after a bit of my hiatus. So yeah, adios, peace, bye, have a good night.